Hello, friend!
Hello!
It's Anne-Marie and Peter with our Discoverage episode 11, The Wolf Inside. Oh, that's just my tummy rumbling.
It's werewolves, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. We decided it was going to be werewolves from space. Sadly, it wasn't. But it does make sense, this title. It's a second good title in a row. We're seeing an improvement here in the latter half of the season with titles. But we've got a bit of feedback from...
Previously on Star Trek Discovery.
We've heard from Doreen.
And she writes, I really enjoyed Despite Yourself, and it was thanks to Peter and Anne-Marie's discussion on Disco 10 that I realised why I enjoyed it so much. I don't have too much trouble with Mirror Universe episodes in general, but this one was one of the best I've seen. The fact that the whole crew is in the Mirror Universe, and it's them we're asked to care about, just makes viewer reactions all the more real and natural.
Yes.
And as my husband says, we have a wee bit of worry about the Mirror Discovery in the Prime Universe. I hope we don't have 7 seasons of them trying to get back from the Mirror Universe, but I might be okay with them jumping in and out of it. And I guess I shouldn't prejudge. I didn't overly love Tilly until Despite Yourself.
Yeah.
I think I can understand why they had Tilly swearing in an early episode, but I don't think it was a good choice. I think if they kept Tilly as the truly nice, sweet girl role right up into this episode, her language would have been all the more shocking and effective. But other than that, the episode was brilliant.
Yeah, the thought did occur to me the other night that this is a really good solution to the problem of, you know, why we've never heard of the Discovery again, is that they get lost in the Mirror Universe, and that's which I think ultimately isn't going to work in a satisfying way for this series, but it would explain things. And there is at least some jeopardy in as much as we know these characters aren't going to, live on particularly as legends, because we've never heard of them before, unless there's going to be a load of retroactive stuff going on. So there is a lot more jeopardy than there would be if these were people whose names had been mentioned. Obviously it's stupid doing stuff about young Kirk, for instance, because we know full well that Kirk lives and then ends up in the Nexus and all that. So, there is some sense. If you're going to do a prequel, at least do it about characters that haven't featured before, I suppose, is the lesson there. And we've heard from Purry.
Hello, Orgs. Purry here to talk about Discovery Episode 10. I think it's called Despite Myself, or Despite Yourself. So, I should have disliked this episode. Now, I don't think I actually said it in my feedback, but I had a couple of things I'd have rather not seen in the subsequent episodes when we got kind of that cliffhanger at the end of last year. One was, I hope they're not in the Mirror Universe. I hope we're not doing the Mirror Universe just yet. In fact, I wasn't entirely keen on them doing the Mirror Universe at all. So, the fact that, sure enough, it's revealed quite early on in this episode that they're in the Mirror Universe should have annoyed me. So, the fact that it didn't is credit to them, quite frankly, on the writing and on the way it's presented. They took an idea I was hostile to and have run with it so far, and I'm quite happy where they're going with it so far. The idea of the ship effectively being stranded and having to pretend to be in this universe for potentially an extended period of time. Also with the fear, I think you might have mentioned it in your... obviously this is recorded after your podcast, so it does take into account some of that, and we're trying not to go over too much. But there are some fears that... what is the Mirror Discovery doing in the Prime Universe? Now, obviously, if you remember Mirror Mirror, Spock instantly spotted that... all the mirror versions were different and promptly dunked them in the brig. Whereas the TOS counterparts, the Prime Universes, could fit in. And I wonder if we'll have something similar to that, only they've got a whole spaceship, so maybe not. Maybe we'll just see wreckage when they kind of switch back places, or maybe there'll be something else. But I think that could be interesting to see if we get any sight in that with Captain Killy. Captain Killy. So I've already got a crush on Tilly. This didn't help at all. This, if anything, made it worse. So the Mirror Universe was one. I thought it was really well handled. The lift fight, as you've said, was great. And how much do we love Captain Killy? It's just, I mean, the scene when she's first having to pretend to be captain, and she does come up with the "hold your horses," was good stuff. But then, she properly vamps it up and goes full Flash Gordon, which is pretty awesome. The other thing which should annoy me and might still is I had general hopes about what's happening with Clem Fandango. Also, cheers for that. So yeah, I've got a lot of trouble remembering their real names. I do have Clem Fandango, Dr. Dishy, Doug Bugger. All of those are now my go-to names for the cast. But yeah, for Clem Fandango, Tyler, is it? Tyler. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on with him. I had a hope that it was going to be something else. I think they're going down the road that most people have guessed, or something akin to that, which is a little disappointing. It's not. It means kind of your big reveal is going to be a ta-da, and we all go, yeah, we know, which is a bit disappointing. So a bit bad about that, but again, it's been well presented and well done. So overall, despite the fact that they're doing things I'd have rather they didn't do, they're doing them well enough to keep me interested and keep me entertained. And I came out of that episode thinking that was a really good episode of Trek. So overall, that is a good testament to how well the show's doing. So hopefully I'll be back in the next one before the podcast. If not, you'll get a late episode again. But until then, do keep up the good work, and I'll catch you in the next podcast. Until then, bye for now.
Bye for now, yes. It's definitely the least annoying Mirror Universe stories since the original series one.
Mirror. Yeah. And yet, how many other people are we going to manage to rename by the end of this?
We are infecting people's brains with our own incompetent, strange world, aren't we? Sorry. And part of it literally is just that we can't remember character names, which we should. I've finally got Saru, so Doug Bugger is a thing of the past, I think. Because, Saru sticks in the brain. But no, I can't remember. I still can't remember Clem Fandango's character's name. Although Volk or something is his Klingon name, isn't it? But in terms of his human version, it still hasn't stuck.
No, Tyler. Ash
right.
Ketchum, isn't it?
Ash Ketchum. See, that doesn't help. We just made it something else. Ash Ketchum.
Sorry.
Gotta catch 'em all. Yeah, sorry about that. Did you just making it worse?
Sorry. But I don't know who Dr. Dishy is other than Dr. Dishy.
No, again, his name was mentioned once, I think, in this episode. Oh, that's the Doctor, isn't it? Bugger.
See, the only thing, it sounded a bit like Qbert.
Possibly. I don't know.
But I don't think it is Dr. Qbert,
no,
is it?
No, pretty sure it isn't. It was that a computer game character.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It only moves diagonally.
And it's orange.
Yes, that's not him, is it?
No.
But yeah, this has been the making of Tilly for me, I must admit.
Yes.
Wasn't so keen on the character. I mean, she was alright, but it didn't do much for me. But as Killy, wow. Great! Well, let's move on to tonight's episode, which, as you may be able to tell from our keenness about the Mirror Universe setup, we're quite pleased with.
Yeah.
Well, I am, anyway. I presume you are. Yes,
yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's do this then.
Every moment is a test. And everywhere I turn, there's fear. Can you continue to pretend to be one of them? Even as little by little, it kills the person you really are. Maybe none of us really know what darkness is waiting inside.
We have what is one hell of a long teaser.
It's huge.
It's got to be one of the longest Trek has ever done, I can't help feeling. And I was beginning to think they're not going to bother with the credits at all, are they?
That's what I thought.
But I mean, I guess because of the nature of it, I mean, they don't have to worry about adverts, do they? So they can stick the credits wherever the hell they want, basically. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be timed to ensure that they get some adverts in before the music starts.
No, I suppose not. But then why do they have what seems to be advert breaks then?
Yeah.
It fades to black at points, doesn't it?
Does it? Oh, that's act. Yeah, but they're so used to act breaks.
Okay.
I guess that might be the reason. I don't know. Yeah. Right, the only thing that annoys me about this, and it was starting to annoy me in the last one, in this one it's even worse, is these through-the-window shots that they keep insisting on doing. It's like, ooh, isn't this clever what we can do? Let's do it again. Let's do it. And it's completely lost. I mean, the first couple of times they did it, I was really impressed. Well done. It reminded me of that scene from Best of Both Worlds where they pan back and Picard's looking out of his ready room window. Yeah, sort of like, that was impressive to begin with. But they've done it so many times now. It's just like a kid's learned a little trick and they're just repeating it again and again, and it gets less and less impressive every time. But never mind, that's just
well, it's like it's been directed by the people. and that's what they're going for.
Right, I never actually saw through the keyhole, but is that what they actually did? They put the camera through the keyhole?
Well, it was a trick shot. They didn't really, but there was an established, so that you had a picture of a door, and I don't think it was the door of the room. I think it was just a generic door, and then the camera seemed to go through the keyhole, and then pan out to the room when it was revealed.
So we go through the keyhole, which is what we're now calling it, onto the Discovery. And we've got Stamets hugging Dr. Dishy, which is all rather sad.
Yeah.
And then we get a through the keyhole shot into the Shinzu. Let's call the whole thing off. Because,
is it a Shih Tzu, one of them dogs?
No, I don't want to start calling it the Shih Tzu. And it feels slightly racist to be mispronouncing these names, but
I think it's Shenzhou.
I still haven't got it. And we've got Michael getting bathed by Saru, who is a slave in this universe. It's all a bit kinky on. And the other thing about this, I don't know, it's particularly struck me about this episode. I don't know if it was true in other ones, or it's the direction or what, but the lighting in this one is particularly dark and moody, and every shot seems to be set up with weird lighting. Like the initial shots on the Discovery is all very, it's all complete blackness except for old bits of light, and there's an engineer framed in the doorway, and it's like, ooh, gosh, you're showing off, aren't you?
Yeah.
But that doesn't bother me as much as the through the window stuff, it has to be said. Get 3 crew members getting spaced via transporter by the number 1, whose name I did know and I've forgotten.
I don't know.
She's really nice as well. Pooh.
Don't remember her name, sorry. But I did like the idea.
What name were we going to give her then?
Wasn't she number 1?
She's number 1. We're just going to call her number 1?
For now.
Well,
she's not number 1 in the real universe.
Though, so that doesn't help us later on. But anyway, we'll go with number 1 for now, because it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Clem Fandango reminds Michael of everything good. Oh dear. That's not going to work out well then, is it, as we know?
No. Although I like the idea of a tether. The principle, I know.
Yeah. It's just frustrating because it's that thing where you know things that the characters don't. Yeah. And by now, I think even if I hadn't been told by the internet room, and let's face it, we can talk about it now because it's revealed in this story, the fact that he's Volk or whatever it is. Yeah, Volk. Booby. Volk? Wasn't that Doctor Who? Oh, it's the Vox, isn't it? Anyway, yes.
Please do not throw hands at me.
The fact that she doesn't know but we do is slightly irritating, but the fact that they actually reveal it in the story completely is like, yes, thank heavens for that. And it's also not going to be the series reveal, so in a way I think they timed it just about right. They couldn't really have held on to it any longer, particularly people having worked it out. So I mean, all congrats to whoever that was. I just kind of wish I hadn't come across that, but never mind.
Yeah. Well, going back to the execution scene, I do like the idea of execution by energising.
Yeah, it's basically spacing them, but doing it the Trek way, which is you beam them out, wouldn't you? You wouldn't stick them through the airlock, because they don't generally use airlocks, so... Yeah.
No, but I kind of liked it as an idea. But also it was for thought crime, which is quite scary.
Yuh, how did they find that out? But I'm sure that was a thing, again, in Mirror Mirror. There's an awful lot of references to Mirror Mirror in this, so which has been quite impressive. Tilly hails, as Killy obviously initially. Michael can't find a way to access the Defiant files, and she's talking to Saru. Tilly hands over to Saru, and she lies about she says she hasn't encountered any Kelpians. I don't know why she does.
Because he's a slave race. She thinks it wouldn't help him to know that his people were slaves.
Saru thinks Stamets murdered his partner, and the engineer is apparently gradually fading away. We get our third through the window shot already. I mean, we could make this a drinking game if we were drinking, but it's a Monday night, so we're not. Michael is ordered to wipe out the Firewolf. Which sounds like somebody from Gladiators. There we go. He's a Klingon rebel, and he's got to wipe him out and all the followers.
Wipe them out. All of them.
And out we go through the window again. That's 4 times in a teaser. That's really overdoing that effect, isn't it? Never mind. Apparently the Firewolf is leader of a federation of forces of different races. So effectively they're kind of like the Federation in this universe. And then we're technobabble. This is it. They don't do it often, but for some reason they will, particularly when it goes around the spores, we get technobabbled to death. And this is Tilly talking about Stamets' brain, and apparently spores are the cure now as well. They just do everything in this. They're the Force, basically, aren't they, for Discovery? Yeah. Michael and Fandango beam down to a quarry, and it all feels very Doctor Who briefly, until we get some amazing explosions that Doctor Who could never have afforded. Because they're under fire. And we get to see Andorians,
Yep.
which look good. I mean, sort of similar to the Enterprise effect, which is perfectly good, so why change it? Although now they sound like computers for some reason. They've treated the voices bizarrely, but hey-ho. I think they're Tellarites, the guys who haunt. They're more boar-like than they used to. They used to be more pig-like, now they're boar-like. And to be honest, I can live with that. I mean, and again, you could kind of explain it as this is a slightly, different variation.
Yeah, which would make sense. You'd have
but the Klingons are the crappy Klingons we're used to, of course. Abu in this series, anyway. The Firewolf turns out to be Volk from the pilots. And they also have a prophet, who turns out to be Sarek with a goatee. Yay! Nice touch. Well done. Points for that.
Yeah. Also, I really like the cloaked settlement. The use of technology to...
I don't think they were cloaked. They said it was camouflaged or something. Michael's good intentions are proven by Sarek mind melding with her, which is quite good. All the while, Fandango is eyeing up Volk.
And losing it.
Yes. She lets the rebels escape, or at least offers to, but in return she wants to know Volk's secret for bringing the different societies together. Only Kalis has the answer, apparently.
I hate the way they... because of their bloody teeth. They don't say Kalis, they say Kailesh.
Yeah, Kailesh. That's it, yeah. And that name makes Fandango even twitchier, and he turns on himself, effectively.
Yeah.
Sarek intervenes on Michael's behalf. And the Andorian looks like he wins a prize from one of those machines, those Japanese ball things.
Yes.
What are they called? Glunt clocks or something like that, aren't they? Yes. But it's pyramid shaped, this one. But he's no doubt got some really crappy trinket inside. The spores are working in curing Stamets. Apparently fungi cure all. Bizarre. But then it stops working and they have to call the doctors in. But he's dead now, apparently. They're going to be running out of crew at this rate, aren't they? Of course he isn't, but we don't know it at this point. Michael interrogates Fandango, and he admits to having feelings for the Ice Klingon. It's confirmed that he is indeed Volk, infiltrating Starfleet, and it was him that killed Dr. Dishy, he admits. Michael pulls the phaser, but stupidly doesn't fire. I mean, I know she's supposed to kind of love him, but I don't know. With all he's just revealed, stunning him would seem like the best option.
It's not like the sort of weapons we have, where if you shoot them, you
might accidentally kill him.
Accidentally kill them. They've got a stun setting, so stun away.
Yes, but she's saved by Saru anyway, who belts him across the room. And number one, who's whatever her name was, points out that Fandango's due a spacing. Uh-oh. Stamets comes back to life, and he's with Mirror Stamets in Sporesville, or whatever that universe is with all the spores. Oh, this is doing my head in. I kind of hope we got away from the spores, but no. Michael beams Fandango off. You think, ooh, I bet she's beamed him somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's not quite. Actually, she has beamed him off, but then he gets beamed aboard the Discovery and arrested.
Yes.
And she also beamed him away with a floppy disk. One of those old...
Yeah.
Square plastic ones.
It's a red one.
Wow. Mirror Universe isn't that advanced, is it? And it's got the Defiant data on it. And then we get another ship that's firing on the planet, but you can't see it for some reason. Presumably not budgetary, I don't know. And thanks to holographic technology, we learn it's Emperor Giorgio, who looks admittedly fantastic in all their regalia. They do uniforms well in this Mirror Universe.
I did think it was going to be her.
Ah, right. I had not. I completely forgotten about the character, to be brutally honest.
No, I was just working out, just...
Who's left? Who haven't we seen? Okay.
Haven't we seen? Well, it would make sense if it was her.
Uh-huh.
And I reckon that number one got a message off to the Emperor.
Oh, right. Yeah, because she was looking a bit sort of side-eye at Michael, wasn't she?
That she wasn't happy.
Oh, get out of this one.
But I think as well that Saru knows something's up, because that's why he stepped in to save her. Because she calls him Saru, as in slave Saru, Saru. And there are other things she does that I think if he was a... Well, I don't know what you call it, because he isn't a lady-in-waiting, so I give up. But that sort of thing, somebody who has the responsibility for dressing and bathing the captain, they would know.
I think valet might be the appropriate phrase, rather than lady-in-waiting. Can you imagine Bruce Wayne and his lady-in-waiting?
I didn't know what word to use.
Alfred, yeah. Yes.
Okay, valet. But a valet would know, wouldn't they?
Yes.
The mannerisms and the personality Yeah, and I reckon Mirror Michael would slap a slave around and stuff. And she's nice.
Yeah.
So I reckon that you've also got, I think, the risk there. On the one hand, I reckon he'll help if he can help, but on the other hand, if he gets tortured, I reckon he'll give the game away.
Ooh. Right. Well, I mean, that, you know, an excellent cliffhanger. It was brilliant stuff. I was really impressed with that. So, yep. Cool stuff. But what did other people think? Well, again, we've heard from Dory. Well, Star Trek has really grown up. Discovery is Star Trek After Dark. Perhaps that's talking about the Michael scenes, which I did think was like, oh, blimey, how much they're going to show here.
Yeah.
Tyler has certainly become a very interesting character. Ah, that's it, Tyler. Is it?
Yes, Ash Ketchum.
Ash Tyler Ketchum chap. Yeah.
Clem Fandango.
Indeed. Discovery wins over Deep Space Nine again. Stamets, in what way? I'm lost on that one. Stamets waking up after his life support was turned off was well better than Mirror Brile. Oh, come on! Don't compare this to that terrible episode of Deep Space Nine.
No.
And wow, Giorgio is Emperor. Indeed.
And we've heard from Wayne, who writes, I was slowly getting the swing of Discovery before Christmas, but these last 2 episodes have come back like a photon torpedo in the face.
In the face!
In the face! If they're aiming for Game of Thrones style plotting and threat, they're nailing it. And not only is it a compelling drama, it's a bloody good take on the Mirror Universe too.
It is.
It is, yeah. Possibly the most interesting and enjoyable one since the original. Partly, as one of you pointed out last time, is because it's our crew and ship that's in jeopardy, not the MU ones. You can't call the Mirror Universe the MU. I'm sorry, that's the Mothers Union.
He's not going to know that, is he? Yes, the Mothers Union is a bizarre church organisation that's existed for over 100 years, is it not?
Oh, well over that.
Yes, and yes, back when women didn't have any sort of position of authority or anything within the church, this was kind of an organisation that gave them a voice and enabled them to do social good and stuff. And they still do today, but yes, I'd never thought of them as the Mirror Universe before now. They're mostly old biddies, so yeah. The church's version of the Mirror Universe is very impressive. Really. Anyway, that's a slightly bizarre ecclesiastical aside. Sorry for that. But shall we carry on?
Yes, sorry. I also like that they're exploring what it does to us as a people to live in such a toxic, hateful environment, and that can't help but feel poignant and current, which is much appreciated. I agree with Anne-Marie that it's very, very unlikely, given how different the realities are, that the exact same people will be on the exact same ship in more or less the same positions. However, budget and plot, etc. It's fun to see the evil counterpart of our usual crew, though. That was part of the fun of the original. Ironic, then, that the real bad apple in this episode turns out to be one of our own. Tyler's reveal was superbly handled, but I was a little disappointed. When I first heard the fan theory, I couldn't help but agree that it made a lot of sense given the evidence, but part of me hoped that they would do something a bit cleverer and twisty-turny. Who knows, maybe they still will, but it's an interesting development regardless.
I think, for me, the fact that it's happened before the end of the season, so we've got plenty of other stuff yet, is what saves it. Because if it had been the end of season reveal, we'd have all gone, yeah, but we know about it, bugger.
Yeah.
It would have ruined it all. But, you know, it isn't, so that's fine.
And he says, as a big Andorian fan, I was quite happy with the slight redesign.
Yeah, it's not much different.
The Tellarites look pretty much like the Enterprise redo as well.
Well, no, they've got a lot more horns than I remember the Enterprise ones having. But anyway, carry on.
It was also nice to finally see I can't say MU, it's not a Mothers Union goatee. Finally see a Mirror Universe goatee on Sarek. About time. Finally, 15 minutes must be a record for the longest pre-credit preamble. Blimey! Properly looking forward to next week's episode now. I think once we have a resolution, I might even rewatch this whole arc again. It's terrific.
Yes.
Regarding last week's episode, you mentioned that I'd said on Twitter that it had been spoiled for me by a couple of people. That was bad enough, but one of those Twitter accounts was the official Discovery one.
Oh.
They posted a shot of Burnham from the end sitting in Shenzhou's command seat with the caption, "Long live the Terran Empire," before the episode had aired on Netflix in the UK. Bloody shocking!
I
it
think
is.
The lesson there is don't follow the Discovery Twitter feed. Then, blimey.
Yeah, but you should be able to...
Well, you should. You think... Anyways. Thank you, sir.
Thank you!
And we've heard from the God of Llamas.
Llamagods, Larks, Gutdate, Objak, Kuigjik. Finally, after a long period of time, we worship Sorry, I don't know what came over me just then. So this episode has got all of the... I must kill women. Oh, I don't know what's going on there at all. Sorry, we'll be back with you in a second. Anyway, there's a couple of obviously big things to talk about from that episode, but first of all, I'm going to completely skip past the obvious, because the first thing that got my attention to this episode was the opening monologue, which I'm sure that Amelie will appreciate is not a captain's log finally, but it opens with Michael saying the words, "I can't rest here." Yeah, poor you. Tell that to Lorca in his little phone box of piss. So, yeah, I'm sure he's not going to be having any sympathy for you whatsoever. And indeed, it seems like he doesn't throughout the rest of the episode. And speaking of the teaser, is that one of Star Trek's longest teasers ever? I mean, it definitely seems like it. It was at least 12, 15 minutes in before we actually get in credits. I thought I may have zoomed out and missed something, although, I was quite wondering how that was actually going to happen. My only disappointment in this episode is there was far too little Tilly in this episode, although she does play a pretty big role in trying to bring Stamets back, but she didn't get the chance to shine gloriously like she did last episode, so that's a bit of a disappointment. But they get to do proper science bitches, so I'm going to allow that one. On the plus side, finally, goatees. And not only goatees, but a Vulcan with a goatee, so I'm pretty glad that they ticked that box as well. And we got to see Andorians and Televacs. Yeah, no, that was all pretty good as well. But yeah, this was a pretty tense episode. It was a bit odd to begin with, trying to figure out exactly how long they've been in the Mirror Universe. It was supposed to be a quick in-out job, so it was a bit of a surprise to see how long they've been lurking around exactly, although Michael was clearly doing good work as a psychopath. But I guess she's got a psychopath as a mentor, so she's going to hang in there, definitely. And it's a very interesting story to learn that there's an anti-Federation. I mean, I know we knew that anyway from the Mirror Universe, but the way that Michael chose to use it to secure her own way home, yeah, I quite appreciated that. Learning different ways to forge alliances, so it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the real universe should they ever return there. And having avoided it for long enough now, can I talk about it now? Can I? Is it considered spoilers? Now that I know that I can talk about it, I feel that I can't because I've been holding on to it for so long. It's happened again, sorry. Nurse. So yeah, it turns out that the theories, for those of you that are following, the theories were correct, although slightly more gross than we was actually expecting. Turns out, in your terminology, Ash Tyler is actually properly dead, and Bok is now wearing him as a skin suit, so, it's the latest in Clem fashions. Nice, tasty, meaty. But at least that seems to be the inference from what they were saying. It stands in nice contrast to all the episodes of Next Generation Deep Space Nine where they easily changed their appearances to look like other alien races, where it was just a quick wave of the medical tricord and then they were off. No, not this time. This is a slightly more permanent. It looks like he's wearing a human, like an ill-fitting suit. So that's really gross. And I actually kind of like it because it's gross. And, as I was complaining about at the start of this series, the one thing that this series has given us is a variety in Klingon costumes at long last, and that includes humans. So, yeah. It was no surprise that the leader of the Rebels was going to be Bok, and we're face to face. It was only a matter of time. And again, this is one of the things that I'm loving about Discovery, is they're not letting these mysteries drag out too long. He came out, he's who he is who he is, and that is great. And there was a moment where I thought that Michael would have actually killed him, but no, because it turns out that he's actually going to be useful to them. So, interesting to see where this one goes, and where his loyalties eventually lie. He's gone fully Vok now, but will Ash Tyler make a return? Who knows? Stay tuned. Not to hear. Watch the episode itself. And, of course, the reveal at the end as to who the Empress actually is. Unfortunately, disappointingly, it's not Ensign Sato. That would have been a nice twist, but most people have gone, "Hey, what? Who's that?" Never mind. It was kind of obvious this is where they're going to be going with it, that it was going to be Giorgio. And I'm slightly less interested to seeing how that's going to play out next week than I am interested to seeing how Stamets and evil Stamets are going to battle each other on the astral plane. Is this how they're going to go back to the real universe? Is that Stamets going to travel into his evil alternate body and then find their way back via that? I think there's going to be some pretty freaky shit going on here, so yeah. Whilst the whole confronting Giorgio as Empress thing is going to obviously have psychological ramifications for an already rather overburdened Burnham, it really is Stamets versus Stamets, which I think is going to be the meat of next week's episode, so I am very much looking forward to that. So surprisingly, we are still in the Mirror Universe, and as we said last week, there are actual consequences. This is shedding light on actual characters and situations. I mean, now that Cleon's out of his meat suit, well, he's still in the meat suit, but now that he's out of the bag, then where do we go from here? So, it's going to be interesting. So yes, I look forward to seeing what you guys made of that. Until next time, glory to you, and he rubs the lotion on his body, otherwise he gets the hose again.
Yes, it's being able to talk about this is like you've been holding on for a wee for ages, and then you're finally able to go, and you find that you can't.
Yeah. It's the Vok wee.
It's the Vok wee. Vok wee.
Yeah, and this whole thing in the opening monologue thingy, "I can't rest here." Yes, tell that to Lorca in his phone box of piss. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like...
There's not a lot of Lorca in this, but what there is, I mean, Jason Isaacs does such a brilliant job of showing him being haggard and, oh, poor chap. When you're feeling sorry for Lorca, things have got serious.
Yeah. Vok, he's basically wearing a Clem Fandango suit, isn't he?
Wow. Well, it was nothing he didn't deserve, to be honest. Irritating character that he was in Toast of London.
And what do you think's going to happen with Stamets versus evil Stamets? Because just because he's alternate doesn't mean he's evil necessarily.
No. I mean, it's, not all the characters that we've met are opposites. And if Deep Space Nine it's due, it doesn't go down that route either. I don't know. Honestly, I can't see how they can make that the entire next episode. I'm sure it'll be part of it, but not necessarily all of it, or even most of it, I shouldn't think. I don't know. I'll just... not more spores, please. Move away from the spores, please.
Yes, don't be such a sport.
Very good. It's all very sporing.
Yes. Sorry, I've run out of mushroom
Good.
puns.
For now, yes. Luckily, I'm a fun guy to hang out with, so I've got a few more.
Yeah, but there isn't mushroom to fit them in before the end of the podcast.
Ooh, nice. With that, I push the button. Mushroom. Moving on.
That was totally shit, okay.
Oh, God! Finished? Totally? Oh. Sorry. We're so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Labagard.
Thank you.
So next week indeed, we'll be covering the episode of Vaulting Ambition. So I wonder where that's going. I am definitely looking forward to that. All hyped up about this series now. Finally, it's taken over halfway there, but I'm there.
Whereas I started enjoying it fairly early on, but
Yes.
I'm still enjoying it, which is good.
Cool. Okay, we'll catch you next time. Cheery bye.
Bye.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at bOrgCast.libsyn.com.
And we have a YouTube channel as well.
You can find the bOrgCast playouts on Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Visit our Tumblr site at bOrgCast.tumblr.com, where you'll find images accompanying the episodes discussed in this cast.
Send emails or MP3s to bOrgCast@gmail.com.
Or you can contact us via Twitter on rev_org or bOrgCastAmmo. #bOrgCast.
Shut it down!